Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Nancy and today I'm going to be reviewing the Frixion Fineliner Erasable Pens. I'm super excited to be doing this review because it's been a while since I've done a pen review, but I've also been curious about how the erasers are going to work on a fineliner because the Frixion company does have erasable ballpoint pens, which kind of makes sense because of the kind of ink that is in it, which I guess makes sense with this too. But I didn't know how it was going to quite work out with a marker-like product. So I wanted to test these out for you all. I got the 5-pack of purple, blue, orange, red, and black. It says Remarkable Erasable Colors. And this is a 0.5 millimeter felt tip pen. So that means it's going to be more marker-like than anything. I'm super excited to test these out with you all, and I'm super excited to see what the colors are going to look like. I know that the ink they use in this product or in these products are the reason that they are erasable with the eraser that comes in the packaging. So I don't know if that's actually going to affect the vibrancy of the colors. I guess we'll find out. On the back, it does say delivers colorful, crisp, erasable lines available in remarkable assorted shades. This just so happened to be the pack that I got because I wanted to test out dark to light colors. And I was a little nervous because it says it's very colorful and I want to see how that translates with the erasable ink that they have. It does say write, draw, erase, and revise repeatedly. Won't bleed through paper or damage documents. So I wanted to test that out as well because if you take a regular marker and you draw repeatedly on a certain piece of paper, like a thinner paper or a regular piece of paper, it tends to tear the paper up just in general, and that's not including the fact that this claims to be erasable and their erasers aren't like normal pencil erasers. These are more like a hard rubber. I don't know exactly what it's made out of. I should look that up at some point, but my guess it's just like a rubber chunk on the pen, but that's my opinion from what I see. I don't know if it does anything special. This is by Pilot. So Pilot always comes out with really good pens. I enjoy them and I'm excited to be doing a review on some Pilot pens later, but that'll be in a couple of different videos because I do have another video coming out for you all soon that has to do with the Sharpie pens. So if you guys want to stay tuned for that, I will be putting that up in a couple of weeks. So this is what the pens look like when you open up the packaging. They're super bright in the barrels. I was super excited to see how the barrels were designed. I like all the little accents that they have. It does say Frixion Fineliner and Erasable on the actual barrel. And on the cap of the pen, it tells you that it's a Pilot Erasable Frixion Fineliner. And you'll know which cap goes to which pen because the eraser matches the barrel color. And I thought that was a really good little accent that they did. I like that it'll make it harder to mix them up, I guess. And I do like that they have those little side things. I don't know what they're called, but it keeps the pen from rolling away. Or I guess it keeps it in your pocket. So the eraser isn't a full eraser. It does have a little hole in it. I believe it goes all the way to the pen so it helps it breathe, I guess, so it doesn't like dry out. And it was actually super difficult to open, and I usually don't have a problem opening up fineliners, but this one's a little different. As you can see here, it's got some little plastic ball nib things on the barrel of the pen. And the reason for this is because the cap has a ridge on the inside so that when you close the pen and you push the cap down, that little noise you hear there is going to happen when you close it all the way, and it prevents the pen cap from coming off easily, which is great for these kinds of pens because it's a marker that can dry out basically. As you can see, the nib here is a square shape. I found it a little weird to write with, honestly. I like pointy nibs because it makes it easier to write for me, in my opinion, and it makes things look less boxy, but it does work, and I was pretty surprised at how vibrant the purple was. I was a little disappointed in the transparency of some of the parts of the letter where I wrote a little bit lighter. You could see that it was a little see-through, but not too much. Up next, we're going to be doing the black, which I was a little nervous about because the purple already had some transparency issues, and my worries were correct. The black looked more gray than anything, It's not bad at all whatsoever. It just wasn't the deep black that I expect from a fine liner or from a pen in general. But honestly, if that doesn't bother you, it's a really pretty color, and I do think it looks really nice with whatever you're going to be using it for. Up next, we have our red. If the black was not as dark as it could have been, I was a little nervous that the red was going to look more orange than anything, but it did end up looking really nice in my opinion. It's a very bright, true red, and it's not as see-through as the other colors that we've seen so far, so I don't have any issues with the red. It writes just like a red marker pen would. Up next, we have our orange. I'm not sure how I feel about the orange. I was kind of expecting it to look as bright as the barrel was, but I was a little disappointed that it did come off a little bit lighter. It's more of a yellow orange than it is like a red orange, which is fine. It just was a little light for me, and I felt like it had more of a brown tinge to it than anything, but it's an orange. Orange doesn't typically look great when you have it in pens or markers. And last but not least, we have our blue. I was expecting it to be a lot darker than how it came out. When I usually grab light blue pens like this and I write with them, the light blue tends to look super duper dark, and so I was just expecting this to come out darker, but it actually looks exactly like the barrel does, and I think that's a really pretty color. I love it so much, and I'll definitely be sending this to a friend of mine who loves blue. This is such a cool pen. And so these are what all the colors look like up close. I do enjoy some of them and some of them I don't. As you can see, purple and black had some issues with transparency, and orange looked a little more brown than orange, but red and blue I think were my favorites. I think they look the best, and they did end up leaving these weird little dots at the end of them, but that's I guess what happens with the ink because it gets darker when you finish it off. And this is what it looks like when you're erasing it. It actually worked, and I was really surprised. You don't have to use each individual eraser color per color that you use on the paper. You can use the blue for the red, you can use the red for the green. It's not going to stain the eraser, and it's not going to affect the erasing. The only issue I had with this is that when I was erasing, I noticed that it left some little bits of marks that I could not get off. And I think those were the areas where the ink was darkest, like those little dots like at the E and the P there. It did leave a little bit of a mark, but it wasn't anything too serious. I wouldn't use this on like an official document or anything that would look really awful with stray marks, because even though the erasing looks really, really good on camera, when I show you up close, you will see little bits of ink left over that I just could not get. I was pleasantly surprised though that the black erased super well. I wasn't expecting that. I know the other ones erased really well, but black is usually like a really hard color to get rid of on paper that's this bright, and it came off like a dream. As you can see here, when I'm getting to the red, you can see a lot of the little dots on the paper starting to appear, and that's me trying to go back and erase them. It didn't really do anything, they just stayed there. Here is an up-close look of all the stray marks that I could not get off with erasing as much as I was trying to, but on the plus side, it did not bleed through paper. And to top it all off, this paper is very thin Dollar Tree paper. I was expecting to get some bleed through, and I did not get any whatsoever. So I'm super excited to say this, from my experience, definitely is bleed proof. So if you want markers or fine liners that are bleed proof and erasable, these are going to be your best bet. They are a little pricey. The pack of 5 that I got was about $6 or $5 at the store, so it really is up to you. It's like $1 per pen at that point. So if you feel like it's worth the price for you personally, I say go for it. They're really neat. It's a really cool gimmick that they have. But if you feel like that's really pricey just for an erasable fine liner, then that's honestly something that I don't disagree with. It's a little pricey. Pilot's always been a little bit on the pricey side for me, but that's just my opinion. Up next, I'm going to be doing a little doodle, because a lot of people who buy fine liners end up using them for pen pals or for sending letters, for writing in bullet journals, and they tend to do little doodles. So I wanted to test this out and see what it would look like if I actually filled in with a lot of ink in certain areas and went over it with different marker colors on top of the others. I wanted to see if it was going to affect the bleed through claim that it makes. I wanted to see if it was going to tear the paper up. I was just trying to test everything that I could on these for you guys to see if they would fit the criteria that you are looking for. I started off with the red because I feel like red stains the most with like any product ever, from pens to makeup. So that was just something I kind of had a theory about. And then I went over it with some purple to see if it would affect the purple at all. It didn't. I forgot to write with it afterwards to show you guys that the purple wasn't affected, but it really wasn't. I'm not sure if the same could be said the other way around. I didn't check that. But once I started going over the red with the purple on the eyes, the paper started tearing up a little. Fortunately, there was no bleed through, and that was quite a little bit of ink there, and I was pleasantly surprised about that, but I wasn't excited about the paper starting to tear apart. I don't know what it is. The ink doesn't feel like it's super thick or watery. It just kind of started eating through the paper after the 2 layers that I did for the eyes. So I decided to start erasing it, and as I was erasing, my theory of the hard rubber eraser came true, because it just rolled up all the paper that was already tearing up and kind of tore it up more. And when you do multiple layers of the ink, it does make it a lot harder to come off. As you can see here, I couldn't get the face off of there. I did try to erase really hard, which ended up tearing the paper, and it looked really bad. So if you're gonna write something, this is fine. This is great. You don't really have to write very hard to get a lot of pigment off of it. But if you're going to do little doodles, this is probably not recommended for you. But thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!